All right, please stand for pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please remain standing for a moment of silence. Thank you. All right. First on our agenda, we have a public hearing. Do we have a motion to open our public hearing, please?
So move, Madam President. Second.
Will for a roll call vote. Councilor Clausen?
Yes.
Madden?
Yes.
O'Shannell?
Yes.
Reynolds?
Yes.
And Wilcox, yes. Our public hearing is open. We left this, we're looking for some objective criteria. I don't know if we should turn it over to the applicant's attorney?
Yeah.
All right. How are you doing?
I'm well, thank you.
Good.
You state your name, address, height, and all that other good stuff.
I'm Robert Craven. I represent the applicant, Newport Propane, practice law in the town of North Kingstown at 7405 Post Road. Being a lifelong Rhode Islander, I like to give Rhode Island directions. It's right next to where the Red Rooster restaurant used to be. Everybody knows where it is.
Remember that.
I've got my expert here and we've prepared a discussion handout that proposes certain criteria that may be the subject matter of the discussion started in this public hearing on subsurface propane storage. I briefed him on what happened in his absence last week, or last month rather, and he's got some comments that he'd like to read to you. So, Tom Hefner. Thanks. Did you want to get sworn in? Or?
We don't do,
Okay.
we don't have anybody here to be sworn in too.
Okay.
We'll take your word for it. Sorry.
Good evening, I'm Tom Hefner and I'm here on behalf of Newport County Propane. I'm a civil and environmental engineer and I have 30 years of professional experience. I've been registered as a professional engineer since 2001. And I'm currently licensed as a professional engineer in 10 states, including Rhode Island. I have 10 years of propane experience in New England, Pennsylvania, and New York. During the last 5 years, I've served as engineer of record for 6 propane design and permitting projects in Rhode Island, including projects involving propane storage, bulk plant design, regulatory compliance, and safety-related evaluations. The handout provided tonight is intended to frame the APOD discussion around objective enforceable criteria. For Newport County Propane, the proposed project is a 30,000 gallon underground propane storage tank with a combined transport, unloading, and bobtail filling station. The use of an underground propane tank is not simply an aesthetic preference. Underground propane containers are specifically addressed under NFPA 58, and the code recognizes different separation distance criteria for underground containers, including lesser setbacks from property lines and buildings in certain applications compared with similarly sized above ground containers. That reflects the fact that underground propane storage is an established code recognized design approach when properly engineered, installed, and maintained. We are not suggesting a broad exemption for underground storage of gasoline, diesel, waste oil, solvents, or other liquid hazardous materials. This should be a limited propane specific allowance. Propane has a different risk profile. It's primarily a fire safety and pressure vessel issue regulated under established liquid propane gas and fire code standards. The practical groundwater protection concerns are more related to truck operations, stormwater, housekeeping, and vehicle fluids. That's why the handout recommends objective controls, paved truck parking and staging areas, no routine parking or loading on gravel or bare soil, no vehicle maintenance or washing unless specifically approved, engineered stormwater controls, spill response procedures, emergency shutoff protection, cathodic protection for the underground tank, and periodic inspections and certification. In my professional opinion, this approach allows the town to protect the aquifer while also allowing a well-designed, professionally operated propane facility. It creates a new commercial taxpayer, does not add students to the town system, and does not create a major burden on town infrastructure. Revised ordinance can allow the town to say yes, but with clear enforceable conditions. That was my statement.
Yeah, thank you so much. Do you have any council questions? For our expert? Oh, sure, go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, I don't have any concerns on the propane as a substance. I mean, I had to do some more research going back past my college level science classes, but you know, instantaneous phase change, minus 4 degrees Fahrenheit. As soon as it leaves, if it leaves the tank, it's going to become a vapor.
Right.
Negligible water solubility for propane. It just bubbles in the gas, so that's fine. And it's the density and the subsurface mitigation and migration is the question. So it's more of a safety issue if there was a leak. It's not for the aquifer, but for example, propane, because of its density, goes down and then spreads outward through porous substances and through cavities. So for example, if it was a pipe leading to someone's house, the propane is going to follow the path of least resistance, and it could cause
Only in an enclosed space. So you've got to have an enclosed environment, so.
yeah, like a pipe.
Right, but
A pipe.
that's why a propane tank is never stored indoors.
Yep, but if it's underground,
Right,
And
so
again,
propane vapor has a higher.
if I may finish.
Let him finish,
finish.
please, thank
Go
you.
ahead.
I'm not trying to derail it, just no, I think the safety of the material is already checked the box. I just wanted to ask the question from our safety of fire officials, because it is in a population area that's with other houses. I have no idea right now what the subsurface piping is. I don't think there's going to be a leak, right? There's so many protections in place, and the tanks are inspected, and it's corrosion free, and it's got barriers around it, and it's in a cement piece. I get that, but I just wanted to ask the question: do we know how that propane could migrate if there was a leak? Because there's a lot of houses there. That's all. That was the question I want to ask.
Sure, go ahead, Mark, and then we'll go back to the.
I was
expert.
gonna ask, maybe he could outline some of the provisions of NFPA 58 that deal with that situation as far as distance to structures.
So, right, so it's the two basic offsets are distance from property lines and distance from occupied buildings. Right, so an underground propane tank actually has an allowance of 10 feet. I mean, it usually ends up not being that close. It's usually more than 10 feet. But technically under NFPA 58, it's 10 feet for underground tanks. For above ground tanks, it's 50. Right. But again, you know, like you've got to have a migration pathway where it's enclosed. So if you're in the open environment, it's going to diffuse into the air. Right. So, and that's why a propane tank can never be stored inside of a building. It cannot be in an enclosed space.
And how close is this propane tank to the next structure?
Oh, it's, I mean, the plans that we have already have suitable offsets from the property lines. You know, I mean, it's basically like the tank below ground, it's a fenced in area, it's gonna have crash protection. And then, you know, like all operations are outside, it's always manned operations, you know, it's not automatic operations, it's operations by trained personnel.
And going back to the point that was made by Councilor Mandick at our last meeting, that'll all be handled with development plan review, how close it is to other buildings, if I'm not mistaken. This is really just about the use code and the ordinance change.
In fact, this is going to be handled by the zoning board review because it's going to be required through a special use permit.
And I did see Councilor Colasanti,
Yes,
so I'll go to him
okay, thank
next
you,
for his
sorry.
statements and questions.
Okay, everybody done?
Yeah, please.
After I asked the question the last meeting, if there was ever an incident since opening in 1959, I called the town halls of various towns that there are propane facilities and asked them specifically if there ever been any issues where hazmat or a fire department had to respond, all right, to a leak over and above the norm. And the every single town hall I called, whether it be Stonington, Newport, South Kingstown, they all said no. There has never been an incident where there was something we would consider catastrophic or a problem with property, abutting where the storage tanks are. If there was ever an issue migrating into that other structure, they all said no. So that was a good thing. I was waiting for one to say, oh yeah, we had a real bad problem 15 years ago, but there was nothing. It was clean slate right across. And it's not just your company, Star Gas, Quality Propane, you know what I mean?
Star Gas.
Right,
Right.
exactly.
Thank you so much for looking into that.
Yeah.
Any other, sure, go ahead.
Madam
Councilor.
Chair, so a couple questions. I'm gonna try to roll them all into one. So the Aquifer Protection Overlay District, this ordinance and this particular use are gonna be applicable only to commercial entities. It's not applicable to residences. And so my follow-on question from that is there a difference in tank size and requirements for where they're sited for residential to commercial tanks? So for buried tanks between 500,000 gallons, the town doesn't necessarily regulate those. We definitely don't regulate them in our APOD ordinance, but this is a 30,000 gallon tank. So, not taking into account right now your particular development, looking at the ordinance change as a whole, is there a difference between certain magnitude volumes of tanks and where they're sited? Is there requirements for that?
Right, so NFPA 58, if it's under 4,000 gallons, it's a lot looser. Usually, in a residential scenario, if you're putting like a 125 at somebody's house, it's really related to ignition sources. So you want it away from doors and windows. You don't want the propane to be able to make it into the structure. You might have a regulator. We were just dealing with this on a site up in Massachusetts, and we were actually considering venting this regulator for this propane system above a window. And the windows are never open, but because you don't have institutional controls and they're windows and they could be open, if propane was being released through this regulator, it could make it into the window, which would make it into the, into the building, which is an enclosed space, and that would not be safe. But, so obviously we didn't do that. I pushed it in the other direction and said, no, we have to be below the window and away from the window. It's gonna be 36 inches. And that's like for containers that are below 4,000 gallons. And then it gets to other thresholds where it's, I want to say generally it's like 4,000 to 30,000, and then it's 30,000 and above. Right, and then there's provisions for 60s and 90s. I'd have to have the code in front of me. We haven't done a 60s don't happen that often. 30s happen a lot, 18s happen a lot. 60s are like, if you're doing a paper mill, you need a tremendous amount of energy. That's where you're getting into the much bigger tanks. But 30,000 is really a standard size propane tank in today's industry.
Okay. All right, so just for the council's information, so this is gonna go to the plant, their specific development, if we adopt this, or any development in the future, is gonna go to the planning board for an advisory opinion. It's in the APOD. Then it's gonna go to the zoning board of review to go through the special use permit. And they're going to determine when we or eventually adopt specific criteria if a specific development meets that specific criteria.
Correct.
So the first step here is to adopt an ordinance that the town thinks is reasonable, doesn't put undue burden on the town and applicants. And then from there, it's going to be planning board and zoning board review. It should be fairly painless.
Any other questions for our expert?
Thank you.
All right. Sounds good. I think you have a seat then. I do have a quick question for our town solicitor or town planner. Have you had a chance to review the specific criteria that was given to us right before the meeting?
I got it about 5:45, 5:50.
Oh.
So I've taken a quick look.
Okay. Me too. I've also taken a quick look. Any other comments from council? This is a public hearing, so I'll go to the public and see if anybody's online. All right, anybody from the public have anything they'd like to share? About the change? Sure, go ahead, Mr. Sayer. Please do state your name for the record.
Bob Sayer, Richmond. I don't know whether last time when we had this thing, I had a concern, which is probably for the planning board or the review board. But it's about the curb cut to get in and out of that facility. I'm all for the underground tank because it's gonna be a tax thing that's gonna help us and it's not gonna be a burden on the town and everything else. I know about propane. Underground propane storage is much safer and everything else. But my concern is that section of road is very, very narrow. And the trucks that go in and out of there, I know because I used to deal with them. Offshore is one of the ones that goes in and they've got like 48 or 53 footers with stretch axles. So you're gonna need an opening in front of that place and enough room to turn around to get out so that it doesn't, they're not jumping the curb in front of the chief's place here. I want to keep him safe. And
Yeah,
but it's I don't know because I had asked what the dimensions are of the property and I don't know whether there's an answer to that. That's my only concern.
there will be when this gets brought to the planning board or the zoning board, they'll address it there. I trust you'll be there. If not, we'll let you know when it is.
I'll try.
All right. Does anybody have anything to say on the use code change before we check online? And or anybody online? All right, can we have a motion to,
Madam President,
yeah,
move to close public hearing. Second.
we'll go for a roll call vote. Counselor Colasanti,
Yes.
Mandic,
Yes.
Palmigano.
Yes.
Yes.
And Wilcox, yes. Do we have an act? Sure, go ahead,
Yeah,
Counselor.
Madam President, move to approve the request of 1163 Main Street LLC. Discussion and consideration of proposed amendments in the Richmond zoning ordinance, chapter 18, section 1816 010, establishing a new use code for propane gas, section 1816 020, entitled fuel sales and delivery, eliminating propane gas from description, and section 1821 050, allowing underground storage tanks and excluding propane storage from certain development standards.
Second.
All right, so we have our second for discussion. Do you have any counselor questions? Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, so in the minutes from last week, it states that we already adopted this. Didn't think that we did. I think the minutes might need to be amended, but let's take it from here. So we were presented with proposed criteria, specific and objective criteria for a special use permit for the new use code. So we need to work in the document that we provided today into our zoning ordinances in some manner. I would like to ask our town planner what her thoughts are on how to bake this into our ordinance cleanly, considering we will be going through the special use permits within the next month or so.
Definitely. Hallie, sorry to put you on the spot, but we'd appreciate your insight on that.
Molly Gillette, town planner. In the future, we will be having another section. That's my plan, at least, to have another section within 1816 that deals with special use permits. It could live there for the time being. I think you could put it potentially in the comments area that they have on like the side of the district court table. Just to keep it there until we actually have the new section created.
Okay, I think that makes sense to me because all of that will be amended later anyway. So it won't cause any additional advertising fees.
Because that was the question that I had brought up
Right.
when we were here previously. Okay, well, we're going to be creating a new section. Did we advertise or creating a new section? All of that, which was not what was advertised specifically. So I think you could put it in that part of the table that harkens back to other sections of ordinances or other components of the zoning ordinance.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. For sure. We'll need a motion to amend the motion on the floor to include this kind of thing, but we'll get there. Any other council comments, or do we want to make that motion?
If no one else has anything
Sure.
to say, that's what I was gonna do.
Just
Go ahead.
briefly, Counselor.
Yeah. Sure, go ahead, Councilor Palmigano.
Oh, thank you. Madam President, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I like the idea of this change. I've spoken with a lot of residents who would struggle last year getting propane because of its availability. I think this brings a new piece. I would just ask that, I don't know if this is the administrator or the clerk, that in the process of going through the next review boards, that we have some kind of input from the chief, fire chief, on the safety, just so that we could get their sign off, or opinion, just, just opinion from a safety perspective, because it is a very flammable material. That's all. I would ask that.
Could that be something we could include as a specific and objective criteria?
Yeah, that could be. Yep.
I would say I would ask that the fire chief's review be specific and objective, because I think we ran into that when we're going through all the ordinances
Or
and
just-
it's asked for like,
It's just to close
Yeah,
that.
I understand. I was just saying, when there was another use code that requested, I believe the police chief's opinion, I was like, well, that's not specific and objective. Like, what's his opinion? So if you want to find a way to bake it in, I would like us to.
It's in here.
It's in here? Perfect.
Good.
I have skimmed it before the meeting. I know it's in there. You see Councilor Constantino's hand, I'm
I
gonna
did
go
not have
ahead.
a chance to review it. Chatting with the public too much, so that's, yeah. My,
This is more of a question to our solicitor.
Sure.
This can be flagged with their application. They can go in their application.
This is going to be incorporated into the record because it's been delivered to the clerk.
Right,
So
so,
it's part of the application.
right,
But it's also going to be incorporated into the actual text of the
right,
change. Yeah.
right. Okay, so it's all encompassing, basically, is
It's
what it's
gonna-
gonna be,
It's going to be included.
right?
Yeah. Okay. Did you have more to add, Ty?
No.
Okay, good. I'll
Didn't know if you had any other questions.
okay, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure I didn't forget about you. I'll go to Councilor Reynolds for our motion. To amend.
And I'm gonna read them in. So I would move to amend the motion to include the following a specific and objective criteria for the new special use code for special not special, for the new use code for special use permits. One, allow underground storage only for LP gas / propane in an ASME rated underground tank designed, installed, operated, and maintained in accordance with NFPA 58, applicable fire code requirements, and local fire authority review. 2, do not authorize underground storage of gasoline, diesel, fuel oil, waste oil, solvents, degreasers, pesticides, liquid hazardous materials, or hazardous waste. 3, require corrosion protection, cathode protection testing, proper bedding / backfill, protected risers / appurtenances, emergency shutoffs, impact protection, and fire safety code review. 4, locate, transport, unloading, and bobtail filling on a paved or concrete pad with vehicle impact protection, marked emergency shutoffs, lighting / signage, written procedures, and spill response materials. 5, require propane transports, bobtails, and service vehicles to park, stage, load, and unload only on paved or approved impervious surfaces, prohibit routine parking or filling on gravel, soil, or lawn areas. 6, prohibit vehicle maintenance, oil changes, hydraulic fluid changes, degreasing, washing, and steam cleaning unless separately approved in a contained area with lawful wastewater disposal. 7, require engineered stormwater controls for paved truck and transfer areas, avoid direct infiltration from high-risk areas without pretreatment, maintain catch basins, sumps, hoods, or treatment units as designed. 8, maintain a site-specific spill prevention / emergency response plan, employee training, inspection logs, cathodic protection records, and annual APOD compliance certification.
Second.
So we have our motion and our second on the amendment. Any council discussion on the amendment?
Yes,
Yeah,
Madam
sure.
Chair. So just want some clarification for Open Meetings Act. We cannot add a new section because it was not advertised that way, correct?
Correct. But we're adding it in the comments, so we're not really adding a new,
Okay, so I think,
right?
You're not adding a new section, you're amending the text. It's not a new ordinance.
we're right. So what I was going to suggest is when we were talking about this months ago, we were going to add section 18.16.040, which was special use permit objective and specific criteria. I was thinking we could add that section. 605 would be the first one, and the 8 objective criteria that Council Reynolds just stated could be put in that new section. It would be cleaner.
Yes, you could, and it would be.
But we would we be prohibited to do that based on the Open Meetings Act, based on the way the agenda is written? Oh, okay. I thought that was part of our delay last time, but I'll go forward with it. It's so that
Because you're adding it to
what's already
a
there.
subsection.
Okay,
And
You're-
you
yeah,
can,
you're not
and it
creating a new
says you can
ordinance.
always, I think the holdup last time is that you didn't have
anything to do
detailed
either.
objective.
Right, so it would be section 18.16.040. Uses permitted by special use permit. Following uses are permitted by special use permit when all criteria have been met. It would be A 605. Which is the propane use code, and then the 8 items that Council Reynolds just read.
Perfect. That makes sense to me. Makes sense for our
You can do that.
solicitor.
It does.
Hopefully that makes sense to our applicant who's nodding, which is great. Any other council questions? Yeah, sure, go ahead, Counselor.
He already, I'm sorry, maybe I'm looking at it a little too simplistically, but he already read it into the record. That's why I made a
It's
comment.
what amends the ordinance. So this will stay permanent,
Right.
not just.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Exactly. So we wouldn't want somebody just reading something into the record, because when somebody's going to develop something, they're not going to listen to council minutes, they're gonna look at our ordinances. All right, so seeing no other council questions, concerns, or people from the public, we'll go for our roll call vote. This is just on the amendment that Mark made, and then we'll vote on the main
Second
motion.
on the amendment by Mr. Councilman Parker.
Yes.
Yes, I second it.
All right, Councilor Constantine,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
O'Shannell,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
and Wilcox, yes. We still have our main motion on the floor. We've now amended it. Any further questions? All right, we'll go for our vote. Councilor Constantine,
Yes.
Bennett,
Yes.
O'Shannell,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
and Wilcox, yes. All right, so we're good. Thank you so much for your patience and your work on this.
Thank you.
On to our next public hearing. Discussion and consideration from our Southern Rhode Island 4-H Leaders Association. We have a motion to open our public hearing.
Motion to open public hearing for discussion and consideration of the request of Southern Rhode Island 4-H Leaders Association for a complete application for an outdoor entertainment license.
Second.
We have our motion, our second. We'll go for our vote. Councilor Constantine,
Yes.
Madden,
Yes.
O'Shannell.
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
and Wilcox, yes. We have applicants here. Does anybody? Oh, sure. Come on up and share a little bit about the event, I suppose. Yeah.
Good evening, Carol Rathbun, West Greenwich, Rhode Island. I am a 4-H leader volunteer for 39 plus years. I'm also the treasurer of the Southern Rhode Island 4-H Fair. We plan to have a 4-H fair, which of the youth, we have approximately 100 to 110 youth that display their projects that they've done all year. May it be livestock, arts and crafts, they do Pinewood Derby, they make their own cars, they do some exhibits, educational exhibits for the public to see, or for everyone to come by and check out what projects they do or what they like and are knowledgeable about. We also have floral design that the kids come and make their own arrangements, and then they're judged and exhibited.
Nice. Awesome. Sounds fun. Any council questions? All right, well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's a public hearing. Does anybody from the public have anything on this application, or anybody online, Kendra? All right, could we have a motion to close our public
Move to
hearing?
close, Madam President?
Second.
We'll go for our vote. Councilor Constantine,
Yes.
Madden,
Yes.
O'Shannell,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
and Wilcox, yes. Move an action on this item, sure.
Motion to approve the request of Southern Rhode Island 4-H Leaders Association for an outdoor entertainment license.
Second.
Seeing no further discussion, we'll go for a vote. Counselor Colasanti,
Absolutely.
Madnick,
Yes.
Palmigano.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
And Wilcox, yes. Thank you so much. I hope you guys have fun.
And I invite everyone to come by and check out their projects.
It's a great event. It's a great event.
Great
Yeah.
application.
June 28th.
June 26th.
26th.
All right, awesome. Yeah.
Thank
Good
you so
luck.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, on to licenses. We don't have to open and close public hearings here, so can I have a motion on E1?
Move to approve?
Second.
Please make sure. Nope, I'm sorry, I was just making, oh yeah, there is subject to, so please include in the motion, Kendra, subject to payment of taxes and payment of license fees as reviewed for applicant completeness. If you don't mind, Counselor Colasanti.
Sure.
We gotta make sure we keep those in there.
Move to approve with consideration of the incomplete indoor entertainment license application subject to payment of taxes, license fees, as reviewed by application completeness on May 13, 2026.
All right, we got a motion or a second. Any council discussion?
How much should they rear in the taxes? Any idea?
Do we
Like,
know?
will they-
We don't know offhand? Okay. You have a comment? Counselor Reynolds?
The only question I had on the three of these, I know most applicants, when they apply for entertainment, it's usually outdoor, so it may not be as big of an issue as indoor, is they weren't specific with the times. When we issue these licenses, do we put times in them? Or do we not, don't we do that?
No.
Indoor? No.
Okay. That's fine. So I just wanted to make sure if we had to fill that in, we had it, but that's fine.
Okay. Cool, sure, okay.
I just want to note that in these licenses, they did say 8 AM to 1 AM. They basically like the entire day.
Yeah, well, this is when you open to the public, that's 8 AM to
1 AM. Yeah.
right. What days will entertainment take place? They put varies by event, afternoon/evening, so. But if we don't need it, that's fine. If we needed it, I wanted to get it. If we don't need it, that's fine with it.
All right, we'll go for our roll call vote. Counselor Colasanti,
Yes.
Madnick,
Yes.
Palmigano.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
And Wilcox, yes. All right, E2, can we have action on this one?
Motion to approve the request of Keystone Novelties Distributors for a holiday sales license.
Second?
Any council questions? All right, we'll go for our vote. Counselor Colasanti,
Yes.
Madnick,
Yes.
Palmigano,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
and Wilcox, yes. Number 3, can we have an action on this item?
Motion to approve the request for Keystone Novelties Distribution LLC for an incomplete application for a hawker's license subject to BCI approval from Chief of Police and tent inspection from the Fire Marshal.
Second?
Any council discussion? Nope, we'll go for our vote. Counselor Colasanti,
Yes.
Madnick,
Yes.
Palmigano.
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
and Wilcox, yes. All right, on to appointments and resignations. We have a discussion and consideration of Daniel Madnick to be appointed to the Rich Task Force with a term expiring December 31st, 26. We have a motion on this.
Motion to approve Counselor Daniel Madnick to be appointed to the Rich Task Force with term expiration December 31st, 2026.
Second.
Any council discussion? Sure, go ahead, Counselor
Yeah.
Colasanti.
Madam President, so can you give us an update, like me coming in the 11th hour here? What have you guys been doing? Like, just a quick.
I don't know if that's on the agenda right now. Today's just Counselor Madnick's appointment. We're not really getting into like a Rich Task Force update. That would be under like a reports from the Rich Task Force. I'm sure they'll come to us when they're ready. Because I just want us to stick to the agenda item.
Listen,
Sure.
we do have a meeting tomorrow and certainly would love to have you attend to see what we're doing.
What time?
I believe it's 4 o'clock.
4?
Yeah. Thank you.
Perfect.
Madam
I'm excited to see your application because I know you've been basically doing the work by going to the Main Street America stuff anyway. So thank you for
But-
applying.
Well, I was going to offer, Counselor Colasanti did come in to our term a little bit late. There was an opening since Counselor Dinsmore was on the Rich Task Force. Jim asked me to put my name in so that we could have 2 counselors fulfilling it. And as Counselor Wilcox said, we have been deeply involved with the Main Street RI cohort. If you're interested in assisting with the Rich Task Force, I will take my name out so that give you the ability to learn what the Rich Task Force is doing and see if it's something that you're interested in. That's something you'd like to do?
How about if I go to a meeting and see how it is, and then we can go from there? Is that sound reasonable?
Sure, go ahead, Counselor.
If I may, I did want, I want to make sure, I did mention it to you as well, that we had an opening, because I wanted to make sure that was something, if you were interested, you could consider. We have a meeting tomorrow. We have an important topic to cover tomorrow, and I'm not sure we're gonna have quorum unless we have the council member approved. So, although I guess I did want to mention it to you, so you could put your name in if you wanted to, and how we have Councilor Mandic's name in now, and I need a person for tomorrow. So I don't want to delay the appointment. That's the challenge.
Jim, do you need someone there tomorrow in person?
Yeah, because we have a requirement for quorum, and I've already gotten 2 people who cannot attend tomorrow. So I do need a person tomorrow. Again, we can, if you felt very strongly, Counselor, about considering joining that, we could always delay it. The town is not going to fall apart if we don't have our meeting tomorrow. But if we could have the meeting tomorrow, I'd like to. But I'll leave it to you guys to decide.
Well, I don't want to stifle progress. So
Well, I'm gonna drop the bomb on Jim because I can't attend tomorrow.
Right, so motion to delay to this, to the next.
Well, we already have a motion on the floor.
Then,
We already have a motion on the floor. So I'd like to say, like, I would prefer Counselor Mandic be on the board and commission for a very specific reason. When we first brought this rich task force to us, I was concerned about having 2 council members on there to avoid quorum issues. I said, let's just have one in case you want to pull other people in. I've been looking at the agendas, keeping up to date, and I know that Counselor Mandic's already doing the work. So if we do not appoint him, we're basically gonna say, sorry, now we've created a quorum out of the 3 of you, and he can no longer continue that work. And I think he's doing a great job. My other reservation is that, respectfully, after Counselor Colasanti's first meeting, I was sitting next to you and you told him about this opportunity. There was a few council meetings since then where I'm like, why is nobody applying for this? So there has been opportunity to do homework and apply. So for that reason, I just don't want to create quorums that'll hold back progress for the town. So I would vote yes on the motion. That's my thought.
Question.
Sure, go ahead.
And I think this is a quorum issue, but since Councilor Colasanti is also a resident business owner, could he function as the business owner person on our task force? But that puts 3 council people in the same room. I think that's probably a no, but I want to offer that opportunity as well.
I think we would have to do more research on that. I wouldn't know offhand, and I don't know if staff would either.
Not if you move forward with Dan.
So,
Okay.
3 council.
Well, I mean, so Councilor Madnick cannot attend tomorrow. So I think we're gonna have a hard time having the meeting tomorrow. And that would also afford Councilor Colasanti to come to the meeting tomorrow. And then if he so chose, he could put his name in, and then the council could decide at the next meeting who they want to be. I think that's probably the best course of action. So I know there's a motion on the floor, and the motion, we could remove the motion.
it's your motion.
Yeah, so-
Well, actually, yeah, it's your motion. Technically, it's the council's motion once we second it.
All right.
It can be,
So I'll amend the motion to
Yeah.
delay this to the next council meeting.
or you can withdraw it. We do friendly withdrawals all the time.
Withdraw it,
Yeah.
and we'll put it on the next agenda. Thank you.
Sure.
All right. Fair enough?
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, on to discussion, consideration, and request for the reappointment to the Senior Activities Commission with its term expiring May 31st, 29. We have a motion on this item.
Do we have 2 openings?
They're reappointments, Roland and Dennis.
Yeah, so I make a motion to reappoint Roland Mauchan and Dennis McGinnity to the Senior Activities Committee with term expiration May 31, 2029.
second,
All right, seeing no council discussion, we'll go for a roll call vote. Councilor Colasanti.
yes.
Mandit.
Yes.
Palmigano.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
And Wilcox, yes. Here Duval does not want to be reappointed. This should be a notice of non-renewal, which does not require a motion. So we'll just thank you for his time on the Affordable Housing Committee. And go to our next one. We have discussion consideration of the appointment of alternate board of canvasser with the term expiring February 28th, 2029. We have 5 applicants here, starting with Linda. We've heard from you a few times, but if you'd like to come and share again or share whatever, let us.
Hi, Linda Sombrano, Richmond. I've been a resident here for over 30 years, and now that I'm retired, almost retired, I want to become more community involved in the community more, and I feel that I could act fairly, and I am want to be an alternate because I feel that I haven't had the experience, and I feel as an alternate and coming to the meetings, I can really learn what's about. I have been a supervisor at a couple of the elections, and I feel that I could work unbiasedly with people if I needed to step in, but I feel that I'm ready to learn and I would like to serve the community.
Yeah.
In some way.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Okay.
I don't see our other 4 applicants here. Kendra, is anybody online? If you are online, please raise your hand. The common name. Barbara, if that's you, please raise your hand so we can know it's you. All right, with none of the other applicants responding, I'll make a motion to appoint Linda Zambrano to as alternate, Board of Canvassers with a term expiring February 28th, 2029.
Second.
Any council discussion on this appointment? All right, we will go for our roll call vote then. Councilor Colasanti,
I abstain.
Mandic,
Yes.
Palmigano,
Yeah.
Reynolds,
Yes.
and Wilcox, yes. This is a reconfirmation of the appointment of Pamela Rowland as full member to the Board of Canvassers. Last meeting, we realized there wasn't actually a motion made. We voted on a nomination. So this is more just to redo what we already agreed to at our last meeting. If that makes sense. So I'll make a motion to appoint Pamela Rowland as full member of the Board of Canvassers.
Second.
Any councilor questions on that? All right, well, sure, go ahead.
Yeah, the reason why I'm abstaining from this is because, again, it's gonna sound like a broken record, coming in on the 11th hour. There were no names submitted, Republican. I don't know what happened. You know, I think some of the people are trying to play catch up, so, you know, it's nothing personally against the folks themselves, you know, so I just wanted to let you know.
All right, thank you so much. We'll go for our roll call vote. Councilor Colasanti,
Abstain?
Mandic,
Yes.
Palmigano,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
and Wilcox, yes. On to the consent agenda. I'd like to pull the 1B minutes. Do we have anything else we'd like to pull? No?
Okay. And then 1A.
Yep.
Noted.
All right, so could we have a motion on the other items?
Motion to approve consent agenda items 1A, 2A through G, and 3.
Second.
All right, so we have our motion, our second. Any discussion on that? I thought there was an amendment to be made on the minutes. Do we?
You have something on May 5th? I thought you said.
Just the motion on
Yeah.
the public hearing. So Kendra would, you can describe.
Right, but it hasn't been, it was brought up in the public hearing earlier today, but I just didn't know if it should be brought up now in our motion to amend it.
You can do that. You can correct scribe errors at any
Okay.
time.
All right, sounds good. We'll go for a roll call vote. Councilor Colasanti,
Yes.
Mandic,
Yes.
Palmigano,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
and Wilcox, yes. All right, can I have a motion on the special meeting minutes?
Motion to approve consent agenda item G1B, May 6, 2026 special.
Second.
We'll go for a roll call vote. Councilor Colasanti. You weren't there.
You weren't.
I wasn't there either.
Abstain.
Thank you. Mandic,
Yes.
Palmigano,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
and Wilcox abstain. Thank you guys for going to that.
It was a great meeting. You should.
Last one.
Best meeting we've ever had.
I know. Rub it in, rub it in.
All right, on to. It was quick. On the public forum, the purpose of public forum is to give members of the public an opportunity to address the town council about items not on the agenda. We ask you to limit your comments to 3 minutes. You will have one opportunity to address the council during public forum. This is out of courtesy of others who wish to speak to ensure we have equal time for all. There'll be a timer that'll go off when your 3 minutes are up so you know when to finish. If you need more time, we welcome you to submit your comments in writing to the town clerk to be included as a part of the record in the communications section of the agenda. All comments should be directed to the president and not any other person present. Do we have anybody for public forum today? Sure, go ahead, Ms. Sheehan. Please do state your name for the record.
Ellen G. in Richmond. There was in the agenda, in the back with the resolution bar or other things. There was a resolution concerning municipal authority over land use and housing decisions from Charlestown. I would like our town council to develop a resolution very much like this, because the state is, we all know they're trying to take away our power to do things. And I'm very concerned about it. I see I feel as if there's pressure to put housing on Route 138, our little industrial area that we have for businesses. So I would like our town to stand for itself in terms of land use and housing decisions. The other one was, there's a resolution to support the school bond.
That one is on the agenda. I mean, the other one was on the agenda
Oh, that's on
too.
the agenda?
It is.
Okay, I thought it was in the back. All right, well, you know how I stand on it.
Well, actually, I'll have an
Um,
opportunity to
Hold on.
talk about it.
Do we have anybody else for public forum? Sure, go ahead. Mr. Lally, please do state your name for the record. Can you get up there?
Hi, David Lally, from Richmond. I'd also like to talk about the state mandate for low-income housing in, the various cities and towns in Rhode Island. It's apparent that the state is trying to, usurp some of the authority of the towns to plan and zone for themselves. Because the towns know best what their environment can handle. They're putting in or trying to put in some high density housing in areas that are currently zoned for like 2-3 acres, maybe to put in a lot more plots that are half acre, 3/4 of an acre, and so forth. And these could put a lot of pressure on our aquifer because of the septic systems. So we really don't have a lot of data on how these developments will affect our aquifer and our groundwaters. Most people have well water in these small towns. So there's got to be a lot more testing before these projects are undertaken, I believe. And Portsmouth has already put a resolution in place to push back against these state mandates. And I would recommend that our town council join them in something similar to restrict some of these developments before they become place. There's a development right now at on Switch Road around the Sandy Pond, which is a kettle pond, and there's no inlet or outlet to this pond. It's just naturally fed by the aquifer. There's development of 9 plots that are currently being, I don't know how far along it is in the approval process, but and we really don't know. We have to do testing of the pond over the years to see if these eventual septic systems are going to affect that pond and also the wells that are around that area. So I think that the towns should take back some of their authority on zoning and planning of developments and push back a little bit on the state mandate.
Awesome, thank you. Anybody else for public forum? Sure.
I would just for the public's information, this council did pass a resolution supporting legislation introduced by Rep. Carter, which requires developers, in order to get that density bonus, to put higher density low-income housing in, to demonstrate that they have evidence of sufficient water supply. So we have taken action on that, supporting that type of legislation to allow us to deny a high-density, low or moderate income housing if they can't demonstrate the sufficiency of the water to meet the needs of the development.
Awesome, thank you for adding that.
Madam
Sure, go ahead.
I love Thomas Sowell. There's a lot of great reads from this gentleman. And nationally, he's written that what they're trying to do is basically push human beings in a smaller footprint, high density, to keep the environmental impact, all right, from getting what they deem out of control. So, we're already doing a good job in doing that. When you look at how much open space is in the state of Rhode Island in particular, even Richmond. We're doing a fine job in putting lands aside. And with the General Assembly pushing and putting more stress on putting people on smaller lots, massive amounts of people, high density. Thomas Sowell says that is a recipe for disaster. And I would suggest, and I caught a meeting many moons ago, Councilor Madnick, that I know you like to read, and I love to hear that. I suggest maybe picking up a few reads from Thomas Sowell, because really, folks, I don't think there is anybody smarter than Thomas Sowell that is sitting in our General Assembly.
Thank you. Do we have anybody from the public? This is a public forum. Anybody online? All right, we'll move on from our public forum to our report, starting with our town administrator's report.
So last week, an opportunity came across my desk from Rhode Island Commerce Corporation regarding a grant program with applications due May 29th. Because of the timing of this and the agenda deadline, this item has not at all been fully vetted or developed into a specific proposal, but I thought it was relevant to bring forward to the council. Last week, Town Planner Gillette and I met with Mr. Delfino from Rhode Island Commerce to discuss the program and determine whether the town may wish to position itself for future economic development. The program provides approximately $1 million in potential funding. It is a competitive program through this site readiness program to support economic development and redevelopment efforts. The town may serve as the applicant or a conduit for a qualifying private development project that creates economic development benefits within the community. Again, at this time, there's no formal application proposal. However, there may be some potential areas within the town that could qualify for this future consideration, such as the Wyoming Plaza area or maybe former Pasquale's property. The purpose tonight is to seek your guidance and authorization to pursue an application should an eligible collaboration emerge prior to the May 29th deadline. It is a tight turnaround. Projects funded under this program must generally be shovel ready within 18 months. Eligible activities under the program include site planning, pre-development, engineering, environmental studies, infrastructure improvements, site clearing or demolition, building improvements, municipal planning and zoning assistance. But unfortunately, our comprehensive plan amendments will not be ready under that 18-month deadline. So take that project off. Strategic planning and redevelopment support. There is a required local match. However, Rhode Island Commerce hasn't identified a fixed percentage requirement, but it is a monetary match. If the applications were submitted in partnership with a private entity, the expectation is that the private entity, not the town, would likely provide the required matching funds. Given the limited time frame, I'm requesting council's direction on whether there is support to authorize an application while establishing parameters and expectations for any proposal.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Do you have council questions, comments on this? Sure, go ahead, Council Reynolds.
They're offering us assistance. Makes sense to seek it if we get a project that can use it before the deadline. It's crazy not to.
Right. Sure, go ahead, Council Popjohn.
Yeah, Aaron, the only question I was with the word likely paid for by the person. So the town would not incur. It's just that word likely.
Unless it was our project.
Okay.
So sorry. So if it was a private entity, no, I think that is like a general guideline that the applicant would provide all match, including in-kind match, because I wouldn't want to put any more work on our staff.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Okay, that kind of segues into my question, which was, you said monetary match, but in-kind could be an option for a match too.
It is, but there is a monetary
Okay, cool. All right, gotcha. Thank you. Sure, go ahead, Councilor Carlson.
I would say at this point, if there's any possibility of us getting anything like this, get the wheels turning real fast. Because it could be, really good for the town.
Definitely, thank you. So it sounds like we're in agreement. Do you need a formal motion on that? All right, can we have an action on this item, council?
Yeah, motion to authorize the town administrator to apply for a Rhode Island site readiness grant through it's RI Commerce.
Yes.
Second,
Any further council comments? All right, we'll go for a vote. Counselor Colasanti,
yes.
Madnick,
Yes.
Palmigano,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
and Wilcox, yes. And that was it for your report.
That's it for me.
That's the quickest one we've had.
We just vote on June 2nd.
Vote on June 2nd. All right. Go ahead, Chief.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
I want to share a couple of things that have occurred over the last month and a half, so involving our newly promoted detective, Adam Drukowitz, promoted in March. He's not a junior officer, he's been on for 21 years. And it just so happens, we had complaints come in around that time that required detective follow-up. The first one I really want to share with you because when I was a detective 100 years ago, I'm embellishing a bit, but it was before cell phones. Working child molestations is the worst type of crime you can really work because you have live victims that have suffered and there's all kinds of compounding traumas that they experience. The worst is when you don't share it with somebody. They suppress all those things and it spills into the journey that they're on. They end up having all kinds of problems down the road because they have kept this in. Sometimes it's because of the threat of the perpetrator when they use gun or they threaten to hurt them or their family. We had a teenager come to the Richmond Police Station on April 30th to report that wish she was with her parents. She did the right thing and told them. They came in and met with Corporal Drew Bishop, who was our former detective, and Detective Adam Drukowitz. And she disclosed to them a statement that she had been molested over a number of years from a family who had regular contact with her. So they received that information. To their credit, they jumped on it right away, conducted a very thorough and discreet investigation. And discreet's important because the identity of the victim has to be protected for obvious reasons. Compound their trauma by disclosing who they are and what they're working through. You know, I'm proud of this victim for coming forward. And things that she shared were just so credible in their appearance, and you still have to investigate and determine whether or not those things actually happened. And sometimes you might think it happened, but to be able to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt is very difficult. They ended up executing a court-authorized search warrant and an arrest warrant on this 54-year-old individual. And without telling you what they uncovered, I'll say that they secured evidence that will support her testimony. And my belief is she will never have to testify or share her account with a courtroom full of people because of the work that they did, to their credit. So that's Drew Bishop, Adam Drukowitz. The perpetrator is a 54-year-old Richmond man, and he has been charged with 2 counts of first-degree child molestation, 2 counts of second-degree, 2 counts of third-degree sexual assault, and there are some other pending charges. So great work by those 2 officers. The next one is, this one is not traumatic. This is a resident who had a skid steer worth over $20,000. Anybody that knows heavy equipment, you look at it and you don't know how much it is. People that deal with these types of things will tell you there's a cost associated with a 2019 Bobcat T770. And it's about 20 grand. He confronted the person who he thought had taken the machine and he denied it, which is pretty common. Confront somebody with something that's incriminating and they deny it, they lie to try to protect themselves. Detective Adam Drukowitz investigated. The suspect had actually posted it on Facebook Marketplace to 2 unsuspecting buyers that paid $8 grand for this machine. Because of his legwork, his investigatory prowess, he ended up recovering the machine up in North Smithfield and arrested the suspect, charged him with unlawful appropriation, fraudulent conversion, and obtaining money by false pretenses. And he'll be in probably at our next council meeting because his badges are in for detective. So
Oh,
we're gonna have
awesome.
a little pinning ceremony between his wife and A. If not, next meeting, then the meeting after that.
Awesome.
That's all I have.
Thank you so much. Amazing work.
Chief, quick question on the second one.
Yes,
Obviously, it's
What's that?
felony.
it is a felony.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as a matter of fact, so child molestation, obviously a felony, but the crime of theft, all felony because of the value.
The value of the machine.
Thank you. Next report is from our town clerk, Kendra. Would you like to share with us a little bit about what you're requesting?
So, like I said in my memo, it was brought to our attention from the Rhode Island Town and City Clerks Association that this bill is being put forward, which I believe has already been passed in the House. I actually heard back from Senator Morgan this afternoon that she's going to be opposing it tonight. Basically, the Cliff Notes version of what this bill is proposing is that all meetings, similar to how we run a town council meeting where it's live streamed and recorded, and there is Zoom participation, they want that for essentially all meetings. So all boards and commissions, they state it as advisory bodies, but it would be for all boards and commissions meetings essentially. So we would have to provide those services, which are not budgeted for, and we don't really have the manpower to do that. So it's not just for Richmond, it's also for all other 39 cities and towns that might not have the means to do what we do here.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much. I'll just say, I remember during my first term and Councilor Colasanti's first term, we looked into live streaming certain meetings, starting with some of them, and determined that it was just too much for our clerk's office. There's always more we can do to bring those boards and commissions to be more transparent. So I think there's some tweaks we can make to this bill that would end up working, but as written, I agree that it should be opposed. Do we have any other council discussion or maybe a motion? Sure, go ahead, Council.
Yeah, Madam Chair. So I support all of our boards and commissions having the ability to live stream so that people can take part without having to be here physically. It's something I know we've discussed. I think this council has discussed in the past. I still don't quite understand the logistics why someone in our boards and commissions can't learn how to run Zoom or Teams or whatever we use. I find it to be very easy. I don't quite understand why we need staff to be there. With that said, I do agree with the resolution. I don't agree with the bill as written. What I did want to suggest we add to a resolution is if this law is going to be implemented, maybe not this year or next year, that all fees and costs associated with the proposal are covered through additional state funding. And I think if we got additional state funding to do it, I think that solves the problem. Really, it's a funding and manpower issue. If we have additional state aid to cover the cost, then we can have someone who is purposely trained to run the meetings and not have to rely on a board or commission.
Yeah.
So my only recommendation would be to add that all fees and costs are associated with this proposal covered through additional state.
Sure, I'll shift to you for the motion to make sure we include that. Sure, Councilor Palmachado. I found you first, and we'll go to him if you don't mind. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you. So I agree with Councilor Madnick on the state funding part addition. I also agree there's a lot of meetings, whether it be well, pick any of the meetings that I can't attend because of the time of day they're in. I would definitely attend to listen in if they were virtual. During COVID, we allocated a lot of funding to create our ability to hold meetings virtually, and a lot of cities and towns did not. So I think we're already ahead in many respects of our investment. And I also think with our Microsoft 365 account, it's a Teams meeting invite, you press record, it's good to go. We could do a little bit of upskilling on that. I run these meetings all the time. I'm happy to help and train anyone who needs to be trained. It sounds like it would be required for all, or is it optional? Or is it optional, or would it be required for all boards and commissions to do this?
I believe it's going to be required. I'll be completely honest, I'm not super familiar with how certain things are.
So it's optional, except for the required boards, which we already do
Sure.
now. And unfortunately, anybody's account can't run a meeting through our system. There's storage access requirements. So it's not simply running like a Zoom or a micro, like it has to have credentials zoomed into this system. So there would be, it's not that people couldn't do it. It would be an access issue that we would have to come over as far as what credentials we would allow.
Yeah.
And then when technology does not work for trained staff, and when technology does not work, and it happens, there's not going to be a staff member in the building, regardless if we provided an access. So I do believe we're going there. We went there, but how the system, how we operated through COVID is not how this system operates independently.
Yeah, all right, so
One
on,
final question.
Sure.
All right, it was, when does it go into effect? If this is approved in the Senate, when would it go into effect? And when would that impact what budget year? Is this,
I believe it's on passage.
would it immediately then?
Or I believe it
Yeah,
was
it does.
2027.
Says this act will shall take effect upon passage.
Okay, all right,
Counselor Carlson?
thank you.
I don't support this. You know, our General Assembly has to stop passing mandates that they don't fund. They're good, is our schools, you know, so again, you know, without funding to take care of this. And again, open meetings, I mean, the law is gonna be structured that all of a sudden, if they have a problem streamlining this, streaming it, they're gonna have to cancel the meeting, if I'm not mistaken. So we open up a can of worms with that too. If they can't get access, there isn't staff there to correct the problem, they're gonna have to cancel the meeting because they won't be in compliance with the law. So I agree, we should not agree to this, we oppose it.
Awesome, thank you. Counselor Mandic, you want to put a motion in with your amendments?
Yeah, sure. So I'm going to make a motion. Get the right title. Okay, so approve the resolution opposing the passage of House Bill H 7676 and Senate Bill S 2612 relating to state affairs and government open meetings with the addition to the resolution. We'll back up. We've got a lot of windows open. Whereas all fees and costs associated with this legislation discussed herein are covered through additional state funding.
Second.
All right, sure, go ahead, Counselor Concha.
Based on what Counselor Calasante said, should there be something in it that says based on best endeavor to stream? I mean, you know, is that true? If we can't stream it, the meeting is null and void?
Yeah.
So best endeavor, that's so it doesn't tie our hands.
Can you do a motion to amend the motion?
Make a motion to amend the motion with best endeavor to stream, but if not, the meeting continues, however you want to work that.
Second.
All right, so we got a motion and a second to amend the motion on the floor. Any council discussion on the amendment? All right, we'll go for a roll call vote. Counselor Calasante.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you have something I didn't see here. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Counselor Calasante.
Very smart. Thank you for, you know, making the amendment to that because we'd be in a pickle if all of a sudden they can't stream it. They're gonna have to cancel the meeting and there could be, you know, 10, 15 people in the town hall, then we'd be in trouble. But yes, thank you.
Welcome.
Yes,
Thank you. Yes, that's a yes from you.
yes.
And Nick.
Yes.
Commissioner.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
And Wilcox, yes. So now we have our amended motion, our main motion. Any council discussion on that? All right, we'll go for a roll call vote. Counselor Calasante.
Double yes.
And Nick.
Yes.
Commissioner.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
And Wilcox, yes. You're welcome. Thank you for bringing it to our attention. We have a Recreation Department report from Robin Woodmansee. Is she online or is somebody gonna give us a little information or do we just want a
No.
motion?
I'm not sure Robin wasn't gonna be able to make it, so I
Fine.
said I would cover this item.
Perfect.
We had quite a few applications for summer camp staff, as well as we're up to, I think, 92 summer campers. We are onboarding a new summer camp director. And so this request is authorization for staff to hire the necessary staff to run camp. Without
Okay.
specific names, because we can't get in front of you until June 16th. And camp starts, it would be too tight of a turnaround to let campers know.
That makes sense. I totally understand. Do we have an action on this item?
So you're seeking us to authorize the recreation director to hire the camp staff without coming back with it, because right now you don't know who they are.
Right, they're going through them,
Right.
similar to what we
Yeah.
did for April vacation
Mhm.
for 12, but this,
So I'll make a motion to authorize the recreation director to hire camp counselors and the assistant camp director for the 2026 summer camp session.
Second.
We got a motion and a second. Any council questions?
And we'll,
Okay.
yeah, that will definitely expedite things because especially you have to do BCI checks and whatnot, so.
That would be for adults. For juveniles, just to be clear, there's no criminal record access.
Right.
But we check in-house and most of them live in town.
Yeah.
Neighboring communities, so we can do records management searches to see whether or not there's been past conduct that's of concern.
Right.
And she's very prompt on getting those to us, so.
Good.
Good.
Thank you, Chief.
You hope so.
Move for roll call vote, Counselor Calasanti.
Yes.
Madden,
Yes.
O'Connell,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
and Wilcox, yes. Unfinished business. We have a request from Councilor Mandick for discussion consideration of a restoration of the Richmond Environmental Resiliency Commission. Go ahead, Counselor.
All right, so we discussed this a few times.
Mhm.
Back last year and then in the fall, and I kind of put it aside for a while. And based on some comments from the public a couple meetings ago regarding the forestry issues that we have in town, I felt that it was probably a good time to bring this back up to discuss again. So the goal of this commission is to essentially prepare the town for environmental hazards such as drought, wildfires, flooding, hurricanes, things of that nature. Work with town staff, work with our emergency management director, not required, but to at least work with staff when needed, and work with a hazard mitigation plan to essentially prepare the town for these potential issues. The goal here is to try to be proactive.
Mhm.
We don't have a board or commission that their sole focus is to make sure that we are prepared for any environmental issues that come. I mean, there have been plenty of wildfires and brush fires lately that we've seen. We need to, I think, take on some policies that may be able to help our community. I don't think the council has the expertise to do it. We would be lucky if we had an elected official that had that type of expertise. We don't. As elected officials, are not supposed to be experts in everything. We're supposed to have people that help us make policy for the town as representatives for the community. So that's what I'm trying to do here, is trying to put forth a new commission that has specific requirements for qualifications for people that understand environmental issues, that can provide the community policies, can act on the hazard mitigation plan, and tell us what we need to do going forward. It's somewhat modeled after Charlestown's. I made it a little bit more robust for the needs of Richmond. One of the things I also thought was important is I don't know if there are subject matter experts in Richmond, so I wrote it so that we could allow people that were non-Richmond residents that have a stake in our community to help us set policy to prepare us for any potential issues. I have a couple of modifications that I wanted to make very small when I was reviewing it again. And then my final question on this is, it's not written to do it, but in order to move this forward, it does need to go to public hearing because it is modifying an ordinance. So we would have to make a motion to advertise for public hearing.
Okay, perfect. Any council questions for Councilor Maddick or anybody else? Yeah, sure, good. Councilor Beltran, and then we'll go to Councilor Beltran.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, I know we have had this discussion before, but if the counselor could tell us or remind us just the EMA, where the EMA director and the fire chief stand on this creation. And I understand that there's a hazard mitigation plan that they may or may not be looking at, but I think there was that conversation around duplication of effort. I wanted to know where they stood on this creation of it.
Do you know where they stand? They're not here, they may be online.
Well, based on the previous conversation we had with them in person, one of the complications we had is I was hoping that the EMA director would be an ex officio member of the commission, but based on his feedback, I took that out. So all of the feedback that the EMA director and everyone else provided, including staff and the council, I modified in this version. So it's been updated from the last time we had the conversation.
Yeah.
That's so, for instance, Jim, what I wrote is in 4XX020 and B, the commission may request the presence of any town staff to seek input and guidance on any topic within the commission duties. I don't necessarily think it's duplication of efforts because even though our EMA director and our fire marshal are very intelligent people and have a set of expertise and skill set that a lot of us don't have, there are other aspects of this that they may not be able to contribute to, which is what I think we're looking for to provide some input into our town. I'd like to at least be given the opportunity to stand this up and see where it goes. If there's no quorum, if you don't have enough members, basically sits until there is. Four's quorum?
Yes.
It'd be 4. I will say that I do have one person in the community that is interested, that does have an environmental degree.
Perfect. I'm gonna go to Councilor Colasanti, when council's discussed, then we'll go to the public.
There is some, well, not some, there is quite a bit of validity to this. Because a couple of years ago, I went to a fly-in DC. And we met with Jack Reed, Seth Magaziner, Sheldon Whitehouse. And we went on the National Loggers Association. And the group that we have here in Rhode Island is the Rhode Island Wood Operators Organization. So we sat down with them. We mentioned to them that it's not if it's going to happen, when it's going to happen, because we're not maintaining our forests. The land trusts, it's not just specific to Richmond, it's all over the state. They keep buying up more and more, and that leaves them no money in their account to maintain the lands. And after we had that flying, we explained that we don't have equipment here in Rhode Island to be able to get in there. If a fire happens, we don't have the machinery and the apparatus in the training to go in and take care of that. And then lo and behold, everybody remembers, well, maybe not everybody, but 3 months after we left DC, we had that big fire in Exeter. And they were so ill prepared for that. Tens, hundreds of acres burned. And that, it was kind of like made the hair in the back of my neck stand, because we were just talking to our reps about that in DC, and 3 months later it happened. So we have to put our best foot forward, because especially, when you go to these walking trails, there is so much dead wood, so much dead brush after the gypsy moth. It's just, again, it's not if it's going to happen, when it's going to happen. And along with your studying with this, I think these land trusts and whatnot, they have to keep a certain amount of money, all right, in their account to maintain their lands. They just can't be constantly on a spending spree. Oh, look, we just bought another 100 acres, but well, how about the 400 or 500 acres that you're already managing or not managing, because you're not putting the money now into where it should be going, maintaining those open spaces. But I concur with you.
Perfect, thank you so much. I want to say thank you for addressing the issue with town staff, because I had advocated for the EMA director who's part-time, that if you can come, that's great. And if you can't, that's great. I think a lot of our boards and commissions have staff sometimes come, and that's a good relationship to have. So they're working collaboratively. And I do want to give a quick shout out that after that forest fire, our state representative advocated for more help in our forests. And if you haven't read about it, it's amazing work. Representative Cotter's handling it. Just Google Representative Cotter forest work. I'm sure thousands of articles will come up on it. Well, probably not. I don't know. I haven't done it. So we're getting there, thanks to effective representation that we have, at least in the House. So without taking up too much council's time bragging about our representative. Any other council comments on this? Yes, sure, go ahead.
I just make, I know we're gonna put it to public hearing and, still work through it, but I would recommend that the size of the commission be reduced. You can have a hard time getting 7 people. We don't have many boards that are that big. I don't think it needs to be that big, so I would recommend taking out a couple, maybe make it 5, and then obviously reduce the other numbers accordingly. And I would, again, I think to make it more advisory, there are a couple, some of this is worded that they shall do things. And I think some of that can be, they may do things, they may recommend. I don't think they should be in charge of the hazard mitigation plan. That's the town staff's responsibility. They can certainly make suggestions. So those are the kinds of things that I think maybe need to be tweaked, but overall, I'm not opposed.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right. With council discussion over, we'll go to our public.
Ellen Sheehan, Richmond. Mark pretty much said what I was concerned about, the idea about that they'll make the rules. No. The elected people, you can recommend to the elected people that piece. Something good can turn bad very easily when they become a boss and they're not elected. So, thank you, Mark.
You're welcome.
All right. Thank you. Did we have a motion on this? Councilman, if you want to throw one on?
Yeah, I'm gonna make a motion to authorize the town administrator to advertise this for a public hearing.
Second,
All right, any council discussion?
I definitely concur, and thank you, Mark, that was the direction I was going in, that you can't have a board or a commission that can supersede the power of an elected official. You know, that's as far as I'm concerned, put it mildly, that's a big no-no.
Perfect, thank you so much, Councilor Palmigano.
Yeah, I also appreciate Councilor Reynolds' suggestion of reducing the size, because I was inclined to let you do this, but then good luck trying to find those people. I think you'll have a lot more luck getting a smaller group, and then it'll have a smaller quorum and you'll have more impact. So I think it's a great idea.
Yeah. Sure, go ahead.
I'm just trying to understand, Councilor Reynolds, can you explain to me where it's written that in here that this commission is going to supersede council authority? Because the way that I had it written is that anything that the commission does, recommendations need to go to the council for adoption. Same thing with any funding requests. So
Well, it doesn't, I didn't say that it supersedes the council's authority, but there are some things in here that
regarding the hazard mitigation, it says, the way I wrote is the commission shall monitor the hazard mitigation plan and or make recommendations for implementation.
but again, I don't think it's their job to monitor it. If they want to, they can, and if they want to make a recommendation about how to implement it, but again, when you say they shall monitor, you're saying, all right, you're in charge of monitoring this.
So change that to a may.
Yeah.
Okay.
Something.
Do you have another spot?
I think it should be.
It says that they shall undertake efforts, shall develop strategies, policies, and plans. Again, you then modify it by saying any strategies shall be presented to the town council. But again, I think it can be, may recommend strategies, policies, and plans to the town council, just to make it clear that it's an advisory group. And they decide what they choose to recommend.
Yeah.
So it's just to make it a little more clear that that's the intent.
Perfect, thank you. Did you have something you want to add, Councilor?
Yeah, just to put it, very succinctly, and that way there's no question about it. It can be written in there too, that this is just an advisory board.
Yeah.
That's it. Plain and simple.
For sure. So we'll see those revisions for the public hearing and go from there. Ms. Sheehan, both have it. Do you want to stand at the podium and?
She's probably.
It's been like 2 years. I'm still like, Councilor Sheehan.
I'm fine to say, if you look for the word policy, that's really where the question came from.
Okay, thank you. All right. So we had our motion to send this to a public hearing. Any further council or discussion? Right, yeah, sure. Anything we haven't added before?
Should we come up with the verbiage first before we go to public hearing? Are you ready to amend all that now? Or
I've already got a couple amendments that I saw when I was going through it that are minor. But what I'll do is I'm gonna amend this again, send it out, and so we'll all get it in our packet. In the public hearing, the public will be able to read this, and if they have input, we can adjust it, and we don't necessarily have to vote on it at that meeting. There's no real requirement to vote on something after a public hearing. We could sit on it, modify it, keep the public hearing open, just like we did with the APOD ordinance.
yeah, okay.
So I
Yeah.
feel like this is a work in progress. I appreciate all the input because I'm not Council Reynolds is an attorney, so I'm glad that we have him because he's helping me write this thing.
Or replace one on TV.
So trying to set this up and do it so it benefits community but doesn't overstep immunity. It's hard.
Yeah,
I've been working on it for months.
for sure. Thank you so much for your work on it.
Yeah,
We'll go for a
I
roll.
think that's good.
Okay, perfect. All right, we'll go for a roll call vote. Councilor Palasanti,
Yes.
Madnick,
Yes.
Palmigano,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
and myself, yes. All right.
Thanks, Dan.
On to the next item on our agenda, which is a discussion consideration of a municipal social media policy. In our unfinished business, This came to us at our last meeting at the request of our town administrator. We provided some feedback. Now we have a draft policy here. I have a lot of thoughts, and some of my thoughts were circulated earlier today, so for transparency purposes, I do want to go over them. I know I usually go to council first, but I'll go through those first. Unless our town administrator, anything she wanted to add before I do? No, all right.
Yeah, sorry. So, I reached out to counterparts across the state who had adopted a policy. Chris combined a lot of those policies. However, it's not fully encompassing. So this is very much still a working document of council. So further direction now that we have somewhat of a draft. And I think we have some amendments, but I'm curious to see what council does.
I do. As I had stated at the last meeting, I was really had a lot of reservations of even making a policy, but understand some of the benefits as well. So I like section 6, 7, and 9. I think those were well written and appropriate. Some of my other concerns included that the policy appeared to apply to elected officials through the inclusion of the phrase or official in the definitions of official town account. As an elected official, I will continue to communicate with the public regarding town matters. So I think the policy should be amended to clearly state it doesn't apply to elected officials. I would still expect my colleagues who have social media or blogs I wouldn't expect them to discontinue that use either or provide their passwords.
Point of order, Madam
Sure.
President. Should we have a motion before we move into discussion?
Typically when we have a fresh draft, we don't always have a motion because we're so raw and we just don't. Do you have a motion you want to throw out?
I was going to make a motion to approve the social media policy and then go to discussion on revising it.
Don't hear a second on the motion.
All right, keep talking.
Sometimes we do that and sometimes we don't. I like to try to go for motions.
Is the draft, I have two in here. I have one with red lines and one without. Is the red lines?
The red line was what I had done when I had so many different thoughts about this, and I sent it over to our town administrator and town solicitor to say, I'm going to find the best way to articulate all this because it's a lot.
So that, yeah.
But I wanted to just, because it's been shared with council, I wanted to share it with the public for transparency purposes because I thought it was appropriate. Thank you. Next, I disagree with the part that allows comments to be disabled. I have concerns with the language where it states the town may limit who may post a comment. That's section 5B, the third bullet point down. I think selectively allowing some individuals to speak while restricting others, that raises significant First Amendment rights concerns. It's either everyone or nobody. In my opinion, it should be everyone. In section 3, on Facebook, pages are created and managed through an individual's personal account. There's not a separate standalone login for each page. I have direct experience with this through both my council page, but also the 250th Commission page. There's no separate password to provide. I would not share my login credentials with anybody, and I wouldn't expect a board commission member or my council members to do so either. I do agree with disabling DMs for the town page. If we could have an automatic message that responds to people and says, please reach out to us in this official manner, that would be even more ideal. And finally, this policy didn't seem to address government officials using their personal account in a public capacity and blocking people. I'll give an example about Jim Turek because he's my friend, so I think he'll forgive me for calling him out publicly, but he is on a board and commission and frequently shares flyers for the Conservation Commission from his personal account. If we have a falling out and he decides to block me, now I don't get to know about the bare necessities. And that's just not, and I know it sounds silly, but like that's the reality for some people. And I just wouldn't be invited to those types of events. And I don't think that's fair. So I think that would apply to any town employee or volunteers. If you're using your personal account in a public capacity, it's no longer a personal account. So I would want section 8 to have an additional paragraph that states something like, and it can be changed around, may not block individuals if sharing town events or information anywhere. And then I also just want to say I added in the redlined item that misuse could result in removal from a board or cause. And it sounds extreme. And I agree that that's an extreme reason to remove somebody from a board. It would need to be something outrageous that they do against this policy. However, we can currently remove anybody for cause in our ordinances, which is pretty vague. So either with or without this language, we could still do it. So it'd be good to have in this policy as a warning, just so we have something that's better than nothing. And my final statement is that I would prefer this to be an ordinance change, not a policy, so it actually lives somewhere publicly accessible, because I'm not certain where our policies go once we create them. So those are my thoughts. Sorry it was a lot, but since, like I said, since it was already shared with council, I wanted to make sure that it was all shared with the public as well. But now, Councilor Palmigano, I think I heard you first. And then we'll go to council discussion. Do you have something you want to add?
No, I had always,
You added it all? All right. Do we have other council comments on this? Councilor Reynolds? So we'll go to Maddie?
You know, I disagree with your position on having the ability to disable comments. The main purpose of our town social media is to get out information. And when you allow comments, a lot of times they're productive, sometimes they're questions, but other times you get individuals sharing their take on things or supplying misinformation. And then we end up having to monitor and say, no, that's not right. This is what it is. And so it's the town social media is not meant to be a public forum. It's not meant to be the town square for debate. That happens other places. Just it's informational. And I think the cleanest way for us to provide information is here's just like the sign out there.
Yeah.
You know, you can't post your comment on the sign. It's the same kind of thing, except it's on your computer. Here's this event, vote this day, vote that day. You know, it's informational. So I think it's perfectly appropriate to allow the town to disable comments. And you know, I agree generally that it should, if comments are allowed, it should be all or none. But if people are making abusive and violating the policy, I think that there still should be discretion to not allow some people to comment. But I'm more of the mind that nobody should be able to comment because of the nature of the platform and the reason that we use it. That's my main, I mean, I have some other things that I disagree with, but that's my main point. So I'll let other people talk.
Councilor Bendick?
Yes, I agree that there should be an ordinance and not a policy, as you said. Similar situation with our resolutions for use of public property. They were nowhere to be found, but now we have an ordinance, so the town knows what the policy is. I also agree with Councilor Reynolds that it is not a public square. We do not govern by social media. I've seen times where the town will post important information. People will provide their own 2 cents. It's wrong. We have to go and correct it. And sometimes it's emergency information, and people tend to go to social media to find that stuff. Whether that's the right thing to do or not can debate that. I agree that it should be all or nothing, but I am pretty much set on no comments. And frankly, the last couple of weeks with the town sharing important information via social media page without comments has gone just fine. So I'm of the opinion that no comments.
Okay.
And that it should be an ordinance.
Go ahead, Councilor Consalti.
What I've done is I've actually looked into what other municipalities are doing with these kinds of policies. And I've actually even gone out of state, like Connecticut. Actually looked into New Hampshire because they're very comparable to the state of Rhode Island. And some of the information that I've gotten up to this point on policies like this, what they're trying to do is, because it's not a huge problem right now, but AI. They're starting to get some pushback because AI now, and people think that these comments and whatnot are coming from legitimate people and legitimate accounts. And we got to be very, very careful. That's kind of like what I'm seeing when I've looked into some of these other states and what they've done with some of these policies like this, you know. So I need a little more time to filter through what some of these other municipalities are doing, because of we're all embracing AI, everybody. But you know something, AI isn't the next best thing since sliced bread, as far as I'm concerned, and it really concerns me. So I have to look into more, even what they're doing in other municipalities out of state and policies like this. So far, what I see, I don't like, because again, of the influence of AI with some of this stuff. So I really gotta do a little more investigation.
Counselor Palmashano?
Yeah, just a question. So someone can still, if we do a posting on our town page, someone can share that post to their own page and add comment in their own page, correct? So they can still speak to it, but it's on their own page in their own sphere. I agree with statements from Councilor Madnick and Councilor Reynolds about not having comments, and it doesn't prohibit someone from making comment. It's just not on the town page.
Yeah, I don't believe, there is an ability to limit sharing. I don't believe that that would ever be the
Yeah.
intent.
Mhm. Awesome, that makes sense. To your point, Councilor Colasanti, I think Erin said she did reach out to a bunch of municipalities. If that's easily and readily available, send them over his way to read, and then you can look into whatever other municipalities you'd like as well.
AI
Yeah, no, go ahead.
is a completely different subject, and we received, the Clerks Association specifically received a lot of training on AI, especially around what we publish in elected forums, all election materials, making sure they're embedded with logos, that kind of thing. So I definitely share that concern. It's a great tool, as well as, there's obviously some drawbacks from that. So
Mhm.
just when we're discussing this too, this would be global policy, not just the town government page, but we have several boards and commissions, like almost all of them that have social media. So I believe it would be the council's, wish to, once this is adopted in some format, that it would be a general for all. And so I do believe taking time on this is a good thing. I can provide some feedback on, providing credentials, because as you said, Sam, they are on your personal platforms, but a lot of our, obviously all of our boards are volunteers and it's on there. And when a board member leaves and they were that social media, we have been losing that. A great example is the recreation page. We had to completely recreate that and lost a lot of the previous stuff and disable it before we could even get a Richmond recreation back. And so maybe sharing credentials is one thing, but maybe some sort of transferring of rights. Right now we do not have a problem with our boards and commissions having Facebook pages. I think it's a great way to disseminate information. However, that sometimes could be an issue down the road. And if it is an issue, council should address it at that time. But that was kind of where that came from, is sharing those credentials. So there could be a continuality. Should a chair leave or somebody else want to do, we need some sort of continuation and giving somebody else permissions to that.
Yeah, and what you can do is have two people be admin. We do that for the 250th. We have two people who are admin. We have one person really spearheading it, which works, but then you have the backup person in case whatever happens to the main person, somebody else can still continue to use that. And then again, you have a falling out and you remove each other. Our boards are great, so we shouldn't have those issues. I'd like to say then it would apply to all our boards and commissions. We'd have to let them know. But let's say the town or the board posts on their account, and then the board or the town, not an individual, not Ms. Sheehan, just not Iva, just the board and commission shares it into a private group, then the comments are allowed on. So now people in that private group are allowed to comment, and there's a few private groups that have kicked people out and don't really maybe think people are spam, don't let them in. So I just want to see consistency with that, where members of the public can share all they want, to Councilor Palmashano's point, but the town should not be sharing into public groups with comments on, because that will go into, again, allowing some people to come and not others. While I prefer to just leave comments on, if we could just find consistency, I would be amenable to disabling them. But in my draft, I did still keep, obviously, they could delete harassment, spam. We do need to protect our residents. There's a ridiculous amount of spam out there if you get a popular post.
So I do think sharing into groups from a platform should be discussed. I mean, I don't wanna minimize sharing, but like you said, if it comes from a government entity versus, you know, a town staff member, like you gave the example of Jim Turek, for instance.
Mhm.
Jim's not.
He's not here. I didn't even tell him
He's
to
not
call him
in the
out.
conversation.
He'll be
But-
not mad at me, right?
I think if we're having the intent on the red line version is drawing a line of towns, employees, boards, volunteers from sharing something out on their personal, and if they share it, that means they have to be open to all. Is that your interpretation?
Yeah.
So I think that people would probably not share if that was a policy. So
Plenty of other people out there to share. I know.
I agree, but I just wanted to make
I know.
talk that part out on how that would work, because there is some boards that don't have a social media, so
Right.
they do use a platform.
Well, that's why the Conservation Commission's a good example. They don't
Right.
have a platform. But I know also there's some groups that don't allow pages to join. So the only way to share is to share by a personal account. So I mean, it's weird nuances on a specific platform that we're getting into. I just would want it to be as consistent as possible, where the government is not restricting the voices of the people. And if you're a government official, elected, appointed, employed, volunteer, paid, you're the government, you know, and I joke about it with my kids. I asked them, they're like, you can't restrict our voice, you're the government. I'm like, not here, I'm your mother, you know, but they're right. We're the government, we should not be restricting people's voices. That's kind of my foundation for wanting consistency.
President, so what we're saying is that I usually like to move pretty quick on things, but this is even one thing that I think it's gonna take just a little bit longer to massage to get the right language in there, you know, and then finally when we do, and we dump it off into Mr. Zangari's lap.
Yeah.
And if it's gonna move toward an ordinance, we'd have to come back with a draft
Right.
for first reading. If that's the council's.
Yeah. Councilor
I just have a question for Aaron, and you alluded to it a little bit, but I'm just trying to think of those, you have this section in here about employee use of social media in their official capacity. And so under what circumstances do you see an employee using their own individual social media in an official capacity?
So I would say that it would probably be very limited, but if you had a staff member that lived in town that wanted to comment on an issue, that was a town issue, I think they should carry themselves in the same manner that they would in front of us, but
Well, here's
Yeah.
your problem.
yeah, it is, yeah.
I don't mean to.
No.
Where you go?
Yeah. We can't limit.
And this goes to Samantha's point. Employees in doing their own thing, on their own time, can have First Amendment rights. And they can voice their opinions on matters of public concern. They have that protection. So I think it's difficult to limit. If someone's using it on their own, you know, they're not pretending this is the town, this is me. You know, yes, you know, I work for the town, but I think this is wrong, or this is that, you know, they have a right to do that. So I think I get if it's a member of a volunteer board who's kind of acting as the board, maybe we need to have some guardrails there. But I don't see, first of all, I don't see how under what circumstances an employee would use an employee now would use their own social media in an official capacity. If you're using the town social media in official capacity, you should be using the town's page. In other words, you have rights to post as Town of Richmond government or planning, whatever different. So I just don't. I don't know that it's necessary to have this in here because I think what you're trying to do with this is maybe limit what would be individual posting that happens to be done by an employee as opposed to an employee doing it in their official capacity.
I think Newport had a version and it said if, you know, John Smith, town administrator, talks about if they recognize themselves in an official capacity. And so I think maybe we pulled that out from there.
Where
when
does,
we were going through that.
where does the line end? Where does it begin when you are let's say you're the town administrator and you're sharing information on town policy or business on your personal page? Can it be confused to be an official act of the town? Is it misleading in that way? I mean, that's right. Is that what you're driving at?
Mhm.
What do you do with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fine. Employees using social media to discuss town issues should make it clear that, it's their individual, this is not something like that. But I think that that section 8 needs to be kind of tweaked a little bit. That was the one other thing that I saw.
Mhm. We will
And
get
maybe-
to that.
Yeah, and Madam President, and Councilor Reynolds, maybe that can be something in the employee handbook.
Yeah,
That
good
can be
point.
addressed in that
Yeah.
regard, that if you're going to act in this certain way with social media, you have to disclose this is not in my, something, not in my official capacity.
Any other council questions? I just see a hand in the public. All right, Michigan.
I applaud that you're getting a Facebook page, even though I'm really not a Facebook person, but I'm trying to get myself to do it periodically. But it's kind of like, what is, is your goal to increase communication, or is it to increase how much people know about what's going on in the town? Because unless you are a person that goes on to look at the town website, which is only a small percentage of people do that.
Mhm.
This is going to be an answer to me. I would give out the information. Maybe you get the minutes of every group and put those out too, or a summary of them. But I wouldn't have comment, because I'm afraid what'll happen is it will turn into, you lose the real reason for it, and just have
Mhm.
people talking their perspective, arguing about what it really means. I've been really surprised when I go online and people say, it's sunny today. And you end up with a list of people of swearing about it. It's not really, it's amazing how that works.
Partly cloudy.
So, yeah, it's easy. So anyway, I just think you might lose your
Mhm.
goal
you against clouds?
by the conversations that go on.
Yeah.
That's all. But I'm not a star about that, but I'd like to have more. I might actually go on it and use it more. And I think I'm more like a normal person in my age group for that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stop by and check it out. There's a lot of information on it. And we're also sharing on Newsflash.
Yeah.
So this isn't the only platform. So items, make sure you subscribe to notify me, and you'll get the items that you choose to get. So that they're both.
Yeah.
Transparency and sharing of it.
Yeah, use Notify Me for notifications and the Secretary of State's website for the agendas, because you can sign up for emails or text for that as well. So many emails. Anyway, any other council comments? Oh, we don't have a motion yet. Should we put a motion together to ask staff to revise based on our discussions?
So moved.
All right,
Second.
that was a tie. Okay, we got our motion. We have our second. Any further council feedback? Yes, go ahead.
So this is gonna be revised based on the conversation that we had tonight, and it's going to be turned into an ordinance.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Just want to make that clear.
So eventually there will be a public hearing in the appropriate forum to hear from the public what they think. So we'll go for our roll call vote. Councilor Colasanti,
Yes.
Madden,
Yes.
Fontana,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
and Wilcox, yes. All right. On to new business, approval of the Char Hill Regional School District and the Town of Richmond Memorandum of Understanding pertaining to the funding of a school resource officer. This is the same every year. Chief, do you have anything you wanted to add this year?
Usually just change of dates and officials that are in that capacity.
Awesome.
Motion to approve, go ahead, sorry.
I have a couple questions.
Yeah.
Want to put a motion out first?
Go right ahead.
Motion to approve the memorandum of understanding between the Charahoe Regional School District and the town of Richmond pertaining to funding for a school resource officer.
I'll second it for discussion, Dan.
Thank you so much. Counselor Mendick, go ahead.
All right, so I had a resident reach out to me about this, and I'm gonna be clear. I'm gonna vote yes on this because this is already, it's an MOU, the school committee already said to do this. But this resident brought up some really interesting questions and provided me with a number of research articles regarding the use of SROs in schools. Now, I know that we are not the school committee, but we have the chief here, so if you will humor me, I'd like to ask questions about the roles and responsibilities of the SRO.
Yeah, sure. Chief, I know you like to brag about your officers anyway. Is that okay? Can we put you on the spot?
That's fine. I also love unscripted moments.
All right.
Sorry to put you on the spot.
Should we have him at the podium? Is it going to be a lot?
Chief,
It's really, it's two questions. I'll
right,
try to
go
make
for it,
one.
please.
So, I'd like to know from your perspective what the role and responsibility of the SRO is, and if our SRO acts more of a counselor, mentor, or an enforcer.
Counselor, mentor, and visible uniform presence with a firearm in a time where schools have never been more susceptible to outside aggressors. I'll tell you right now, most schools that have a visible presence with an SRO do not become targets. Aside from that, it's about building relationships and forging positive working relationships with students and staff. And I can tell you from every SRO that we have, that I've spoken to, they're validated years down the road. They're still at the Washington County Fair. There were 20-year-old, 30-year-old something people approaching SROs they had 15, 20 years ago. Thank you for that time. You have no idea what your influence led me to do and decide that really it changed my life for the better. And that's the goal. You know, police officers have certain trainings and skills that tend to delve into crisis related stuff. And if you're going to school when you're a child who doesn't have a safe home environment, and you don't have any responsible adult role models that you can go to with a crisis or dilemma, but you have now a friend and an officer, they sit down in confidence and they help them navigate those. And that is the goal of it. It's quality of life, better education, safe school environment, and positive relationships. And that's with staff too. I'm telling you right now, in my opinion, that is the best community policing model anywhere in the United States. Because you're getting people at a very young age and helping them navigate life.
Thank you so much. I completely agree. Did that answer your question?
I mean, they were pretty good answers. I appreciate it. But I'm not an expert. I did read a number of the articles that were sent to me. It was really fascinating, some of the research that was being done regarding schools that removed SROs or kept them following like 2018, 2019 timeframe over the last 6 years. Still very small subset because you don't know what the long-term implications are. But I did, through my communication with this resident, I wanted to bring up the questions and hear from you because we do trust your expertise, but also mention to that resident that maybe they should discuss this with the school committee. I did have one technical question about the MOU. On page 7, sorry, not page 7, page 2 under number 7.
I was going to say, pages, so I have not seen the draft that you're referring to.
Yeah, my bad. In the event that Charahoe wishes to discuss entering into a new agreement to fund the SRO position for 26-27 school year, Charahoe must be given written notice to Richmond by May 1st, 2027. Should the dates be 2027, 2028? Because if you're going into a new written notice by May 1st, 2027, the 26-27 school year would already be over.
No, I think it's talking about the upcoming year. I could be mistaken, but the upcoming school year is 26, 27.
And maybe that should be.
So for the next year's
May 1st.
MOU would be 27, 28.
Right, but it should be, yeah, it should be 20, because this paragraph talks about the next agreement,
Right.
which would be 27,
28.
right?
So they're saying that they should bring that to your attention before that new MOU in 27.
Right, that.
I don't have it in front of me, so
That date's correct. The May 1st, 2027 is correct. The other references to the school year weren't updated.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so in number 7, both of them.
Can I just speak to what you brought up as well? Because, you know, the whole world went through a pretty traumatic period with COVID. Talk about social media taking off and really frightening people. And then you had the George Floyd and the subsequent vilification of the profession. And listen, I mean, I'll tell you right now, what happened to that man was completely wrong. And there's not a police officer around I've ever spoken to that wasn't horrified by what they saw. That said, broad-based vilification of a profession that, in my opinion, is noble and keeps people safe, it always comes down to people. If you put the wrong person, man or woman, in the role of the SRO, you can ruin your department's reputation, and you can hurt the relationship between the public and the police. So I don't know where this person's experience is from, or whether they followed some of these narratives that are driven, and I have to tell you, a lot of them are false narratives, or just lack of actual firsthand experience. I welcome people to meet with our SRO. Don't even go to the school committee, come to us. If you have a perception about this program and you don't really have firsthand, at least observations and knowledge, we'll make that arrangement to address those concerns that people have.
Excellent, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, so we do have our motion and our second, do you want to,
Actually,
sure, go ahead.
The officer is actually, the policy is, I'm sure from you, is there has to be a lot of interaction with the kids. I'm sure.
Absolutely. So there is
observed it, but
yeah, there's a 2-page list of duties and responsibilities, expectations that I have as a chief on what that role are. They're pretty universally adopted, but a lot of it is forging those relationships. It's not about going in guns blazing. It is literally about building relationships so that when a crisis happens, or there is a potential for somebody to make a bad decision as a young person, they have somebody that they have contact with when there was no emergency, and they're comfortable going to that person. Every SRO we have has had to mediate relationships between students who aren't getting along, between staff and students. And I have seen it work where they are less problematic in school, because a lot of times kids will act out on some unresolved conflict they have in themselves or at home or at school. And the SROs that we've had help them navigate those things so they have success. And there's no easy button for any of us. We are all dealing with stuff. But the SRO is there for that specific purpose. And I'll give you an example. The current SRO we have in there went in there halfway through the year. He's a prior, very successful SRO. The one we just had leave was because they got promoted to corporal. He was fantastic with staff and students and dealing with like CIT, crisis intervention training that we've had, on how to intervene and how to give people actual practical experience and knowledge on how to navigate difficult situations. Brock will go in and sit down in the lunchroom, and he'll look for students that sit alone, that don't have a large friend group. And he sits down, and it's not in a threatening, he is as laid back as they get. There is no sense of like, you know, if you have to tell people you're in charge, you're probably not really showing very well that you're wearing a police uniform already. There's a level of intimidation, especially with a lunchroom full of people. And they know him as Officer Brock. They're going through the hallways, high-fiving him. And, you know, there's going to be times where, you know, maybe they get a little older and it's not as cool to do that. But when they're alone, they always have that dialogue. So I just think it's a great program.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that's what the only way to combat bad information is to show people every day why police aren't like that, or why they are worthy of trust. And you have to earn it every single day.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, just one thing, Chief, I just want to be clear. I don't think this resident was is anti-police or defund the police or anything. It's just a question about the role that our SRO and just seeking information from you and how this actually operates in the community.
And I'm not assuming that. You brought up that whole concept of where they were starting to say defund the police, take SROs out of the schools. You mentioned that. So
yes.
I'm speaking to that because I understand that that is a public perception. And I think it really depends on who the SRO is and what school system you're talking about. I know in Charahoe, I could not be happier or prouder of the relationship we've had since this program began, long before I got here. I think they first introduced the SRO program in like 2005, thereabouts.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Keep
All
up
right,
the good
so-
work there.
All right, so we have our motion and our second. We'll make that change about the years and ask the school committee to do their initial, cross out and fix it or sign a new copy or something. We'll go for our roll call vote. Counselor Colasanti,
Yes.
Madnick,
Yes.
O'Shaughnessy,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
and Wilcox, yes. All right. SRO new business number 2, a request from Vice President Reynolds for discussion and consideration of a resolution supporting H527 and S3242, the Charahoe bond bills. I'll kick it over to you.
Okay, thanks. So in order for the bond question to be placed on the ballot in November for the voters to decide, the General Assembly needs to pass legislation authorizing the school district to issue the bonds in the event that the referendum passes. So this is a resolution supporting the legislation and requesting that the General Assembly pass it. I can say that it's already passed the Senate. I think it's pending in the House Finance Committee actually tonight. So I can just read the resolution and so everyone knows what it says. I know it's been circulated to council. So I would move that we adopt the following resolution in support of the Charahoe bond bills, H8527 and S3242. Whereas the town of Richmond is part of the Charahoe Regional School District, and whereas Charahoe's 3 existing elementary schools are between 72 and 91 years old, and whereas due to the age of the elementary schools, the cost of maintenance continues to increase, and those expenditures are not reimbursed by the Rhode Island Department of Education, and whereas due to the age of the elementary schools, finding parts to repair critical systems is difficult and costly, and whereas due to the age of the elementary schools, their HVAC and electrical systems do not support a 21st century learning environment, and whereas Charahoe students are worthy of a 21st century learning environment, and whereas construction of a new unified elementary school campus to replace the existing elementary schools will provide a 21st century learning environment, and whereas construction of a new unified elementary school campus will eliminate high maintenance and repair costs for Charahoe, and whereas a new unified elementary school campus will be more energy efficient, thereby saving on utility costs for Charahoe, and whereas construction of a new unified elementary school campus will receive the highest current amount of reimbursement from the Rhode Island Department of Education, and whereas the town council respects the authority of the Rhode Island General Assembly, Charahoe School Committee, and the electors of the towns of Richmond, Charlestown, and Hopkinton. Now therefore be it resolved that the Richmond Town Council supports H8527 and S3242 that will authorize Charahoe to issue bonds for new construction of a unified elementary school campus if approved by voters at referendum in November 2026. Be it further resolved that the town of Richmond respectfully requests that the General Assembly pass H8527 and S3242 to authorize Charahoe to issue bonds for new construction of a unified elementary school if approved by voters at referendum in November 2026. Be it further resolved, the town council encourages continued transparency and public engagement by the Charahoe Regional School District regarding the scope, cost, and impact of the project as required approvals are pursued. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be sent to the state legislators for the town of Richmond, the chairs of the House and Senate Finance Committees, the Honorable Speaker of the House of Representatives, and the Honorable Governor of the State of Rhode Island. Be it further resolved that this resolution shall be transmitted to the Charahoe Regional School District Committee and the Town Councils of Charlestown and Hopkinton. End of resolution.
And a motion. Can we have a second on the motion?
Second. All
All right, perfect. Council discussion, sure, go ahead.
What you just read is different than what is attached to clerk space.
Yes.
So let me make sure.
You should have gotten a copy of that.
Got it. You're right. I like this one better. The one you just read.
I did it. Yeah, sure.
No, go ahead.
Okay, sorry, I thought I heard you ask for permission. Yeah, I do like this resolution better as well. When he sent it over to me, I added the underlined parts of it because those were my favorite parts of the draft that was within the council materials. My favorite part really was, and I added a little bit to it, I added the school committee in. Whereas the town council respects the authority of the Rhode Island General Assembly, the Charter School Committee, and the electors of the towns of Richmond, Charlestown, and Hopkinton. Because this legislation is not about whether or not we agree on the bond amount or the bond language. This legislation puts it into the hands of the voters and gives the voice to the people to decide what's going to happen for our shared community. And my second favorite part, what that I added, was the one where the town council encourages continued transparency. I'm not going to read the rest of it for you, just spare you time, but that was my favorite because the school committee is still planning and working through options for our elementary schools, and the public needs to be remained informed, attend meetings, and gather information from trustworthy sources, as we spoke about earlier. There's a upcoming meeting for the Unified Elementary School. We're calling it a community meeting, June 9th, I believe at 4:30. I have a reliable source nodding at me. It's at the high school, so I encourage anybody to go attend, ask questions, and learn about the process straight from the people who are creating the Unified Elementary School. So I'll definitely vote in favor of it. Sure, go ahead, Councilor Colasanti.
In terms of supporting this bond, I really can't because I got an education with my wife being on the school committee. And to be quite frank, she probably did the most investigative work out of anybody on that school committee. I can't tell you how many hours she would in digging information, how much time we went to various other districts and talked to counselors, talked to school committee people, all right, in other districts that were going through their bonds. But the focus point should be the Jacobs report. You've heard me mention this before. This is it right here. Every school committee member had access to this if they wanted to read it. And I'm not going to mention any names because I don't want to be inflammatory, but when I stood before the school committee not too long ago, I mentioned that actually in the Jacobs report, the school that was in the best shape was the one that they shuttered. Hope Valley. And it's right here in the Jacobs report. And one school committee member leaned over to another school committee member and said, "Is that true?" So that sent up not a small red flag, but a big red flag that that person didn't even read this because she leaned over. The person leaned over.
Point of
and
order.
asked,
Yes, what is your point of order?
What does this have to do with this resolution?
well,
Yeah, so-
because the reason why I can't support the resolution.
Usually when there's a point of order, they
Yeah.
share their point of order, then the president of the council would make a determination if there is a point of order. I'll just say keep it to the resolution, please. And we can move.
Okay, supporting the resolution, no, because there was a lot of misinformation given to the school committee folks from the superintendent. People didn't read the reports like they should have in order to make a intelligent, just decision. And you know, I could talk another half hour on this, and it's all backed up with accurate information. So I can't believe that we've even gotten to this point of even having the resolution supporting a bond. I really can't. It baffles the living hell out of me.
Any other council discussion? Sure.
I would just say this. This is about putting this question before the voters, and the voters will have their say. And you and I are not going to agree on this, Councilor Colasanti, and that's fine. But this resolution is about getting it before the voters. The only thing I want to say in response to your comments about Hope Valley, Hope Valley was a school that was not handicapped accessible. We had parents that could not visit their child's classroom if it was on the second floor. We had a school that did not have a secure front entrance, like our other schools did. So there were issues there. And that's all I'll say about that. But this is, again, about getting this on the ballot in November. The voters will weigh in, and whatever the voters do, they do, and we'll go forward with whatever that decision is.
Councilor Paul.
Yeah, just a point of clarification. So if we don't vote yes on this tonight, we don't give the voters a chance to voice their opinion?
No, we do not have a say. We're showing the General Assembly that we support this resolution. It has already passed the Senate. It is being heard in the House tonight, and then we'll go to the floor eventually. I trust our representatives will do that for us, and the General Assembly will decide. This is simply just showing that the town of Richmond, at least the council, supports putting it into the hands of the voters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, all right, thank
And
you.
the last thing, Madam President, what actually the voters didn't get was, again, accurate information. There are 80% of the school districts in the state that went out to bond. And of that 80% were over what the original bond was. An example, Cranston. They were $30 million over bond. They have the ability to restructure those bonds better than we do. And when the superintendent went to Johnston, you have a hands-on mayor like Charles Lombardi in North Providence. We don't have a hands-on mayor here. And this is what concerns me about the resolution. Who's going to take charge? Is it going to be Hopkinton? Is it going to be Richmond? Is it going to be Charlestown? No. There was one mayor there watching this from start to finish. And the surprising thing is, the superintendent is from North Providence. Why didn't she take the school committee to observe the schools in North Providence? Because what Charles Lombardi did, mayor, they had 3 schools proposed there. We only had supposedly 1, but now in the bond language, there's 2 schools now that are rising, all right, to the occasion here. So what Charles Lombardi did is he nixed one of the schools. And thank God he did that, because the 2 schools cost as much as what the 3 schools were going to cost.
Go back to the bond language, please.
Bond language, again, it's a fallacy that we're gonna stay within that bond, that money value. I'm reading the tea leaves again. 2 years from now, I'm gonna have the opportunity to say, I told you so, because I know it's gonna happen. I've been around the state. I've looked at a lot of these other districts. They overspent by tens of millions of dollars.
Madam Chair, I move to close debate.
All right, so we have a motion. Do we need a second on that motion?
Then I move to vote? Is that move to
He's,
vote?
yeah,
Okay, the vote.
I don't hear a
Second.
second. All right. I had one last thing I wanted to say,
Me too.
so I would vote against moving it to close to debate. Or move to close the
I'll
debate,
withdraw my second then.
I think. All right,
I'll withdraw the motion. So let's keep talking.
let's just keep it to the bond language. We try to stay on topic. But I do, I am gonna say that regarding the statement where the voters have been lied to, the voters have not yet been informed, because this is still in the progress. There's a meeting on June 9th at 4:30 at the high school. That is where the opportunity for the voters to be informed. This bond is being created, and this school opportunity is being created by current members of the school committee. Anybody who had resigned over 15 or 18 months ago is not directly involved in this creation. So I encourage everybody to speak with the current school committee members who are committed and there many hours, who have looked at many properties, who are figuring out where this is going to work, to get that information on June 9th at 4:30 in the high school library. Councilor Reynolds, go ahead.
I just want to respond to Councilor Colasanti's question about who's going to watch this. A building committee watches this, a building committee that we put members on. And I'm concerned about Charahoe. And if you look at Charahoe's track record, every recent bond that we've had has come in at or under budget, every one. So I don't care what happens in Johnston. I don't care what happens in North Providence. What happens in Charahoe is we consistently spend within our means, within our budget. And we have a building committee that's set up to do this. This council appoints members, the school committee appoints members, and they've consistently shown that they're up to the task of keeping these projects on budget.
All right, so with that, we'll go for our motion with the resolution. Counselor Colasanti,
No.
and
Yes.
Palmigano,
Yes.
Reynolds,
Yes.
and myself, yes. All right. Next item, number 3, request of Counselor Palmigano for an informational update regarding discussion. Oh, for an informational update and discussion regarding Cherry Hill. Go ahead, Counselor Palmigano.
Yeah, no, thank you, Madam President. So I wanted to put this on the agenda for today as an informational update regarding Charahoe Plaza. Specifically the property formerly known as Cycle Brothers. And you may have noticed if you've driven by there, there's a new for rent sign up in the windows of the property. And with the buzz in the community on the topic, I wanted to take a moment, just give some context very briefly. So since late 2025, I have connected with representatives from Ahold, the parent company of Stop and Shop, to revitalize the above mentioned property, Charahoe Plaza. So these discussions have directly led to a renewed focus on finding a tenant to fill the vacant space. And this connection certainly would not have been possible without the assistance of Representative Megan Cotter, who had been instrumental in helping to connect us to Senator Reed's office to help us connect to the appropriate people in the organization for kickstarting the project and also making it a priority. Additionally, big thank you to the Ahold team for their continued engagement and partnership. The communication is steady and working with Councilor Madnick, who, many of you know, I work in the IT field and as a salesperson, I would never go into a meeting without my my systems engineer, and Councilor Madnick is that. Plus, his intimate knowledge of the comprehensive plan, his historical knowledge of planning and zoning has been instrumental in helping to facilitate positive conversations. So thank you to him for helping to drive this project forward. I want to thank him also, for his patience. These kind of conversations take a long time. And I wanted to share this because there's a lot of people who are interested in seeing something happen in that plaza. We recently held direct meetings with Ahold representatives and had a property tour of Charahoe at the Cycle Brothers facility. And looking ahead, as I said, these take time, and we really appreciate the community's patience and everyone's dedication as we work towards locking in a solid timeline and building a sustainable future for that plaza. So just sharing tonight that there is momentum building, and we will provide more updates as they become available moving forward. But I think all of us are very excited and interested to see something change for the first time in 15 years, to have something new there. So I wanted to share that update with everyone. So thank you.
For sure. Thank you so much for that update. And thank you so much for your work on it.
For the effort.
All right, with that, we'll go to our next item. Communications, petition, proclamations, and resolutions.
Motion to file.
Second?
Second.
Any council discussion? All right, we'll go for a vote.
I did have
Oh, sure.
just one thing, and I don't know if this is something for the proclamation or the resolution from the town of New Shoreham relating the public health crisis based on tick-borne diseases. It's pretty disturbing, the number of tick-borne diseases, and as a rural community, it made me think, I don't even know if we have that issue here on some of those, and I didn't know if it's appropriate to have whomever the right person to speak to that would be. But there's not a lot of public awareness maybe about, some of these are pretty intense. And we have a large deer population in the town. If you've read the New Shoreham resolution, I don't think we're going to move to eradicate our deer population, but it's just an awareness of the level of concern. Who would be the person to speak to that?
I would send it over to the Conservation Commission. I believe that's one of their items in the comp plan even.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To have education on tick-borne diseases. Yeah, it does say council may acknowledge any items on listed agenda. So you've acknowledged that?
Yeah, that's all. Thank you.
All right. Anything else before we go for a vote? All right, Councilor Colasanti.
Yes.
Motion to file, yep. Madnick.
Yes.
Palmigano.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
And Wilcox, yes. And I think that's it.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
How do we vote, Councilor Colasanti?
Absolutely.
Madnick.
Yes.
Palmigano.
Yes.
Reynolds.
Yes.
And Wilcox, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't. Definitely.
I had realized after we made the motion, that you wanted to speak with Colin Porter about the bond. And then it was down here, you didn't have your hand up. So if I ignored you, I'm so sorry. I almost called you out, and also I feel awkward calling people out in the audience.